So I had a guy get in touch with me a while ago about shaping seats, like tractor seats. You know, they have sort of the butt shaped depression in it. And he was looking for somebody to do 3D modeling, to do a 3D model of the seat or to find a 3D model of the seat. And he wanted to make some stools, I think. But I remembered a couple of years ago, Wayne Locke has a CNC symposium user group gathering outside of Austin, Texas, every year, except for the last year. And Steve Glassel was there a couple, 3-4 years ago. He's there every year. But he gave a presentation about using the molding toolpath in VCarve. And he is a whiz at making the molding toolpath do things beyond just create moldings. And one of the things he talked about was shaping the seat. And it never occurred to me that that would be something you could do with a molding toolpath. But he gave a presentation about it. And I remember, so I got in touch with Steve and he sent me a little bit of information about it. So I started working along to see if I could figure out a way, if I could help this guy be able to create his own shapes and be able to modify them so that he can make one, sit in, just cut it out of scrap or whatever, sit in it, say, oh, it needed to be a little bit different here, a little bit wider there, a little bit narrower there, and not have to get somebody to do a 3D model every time you want to make a change. They could do it themselves. So this is what I learned from Steve, and I think it's pretty slick. Let's see if I can make this work now. All right, so here's the, let's see if I can hide my little person here. So here's a real simple shape. So it's basically the molding toolpath works kind of like a 2-rail suite. So you have a rail, and this is the rail I've drawn, and this is the outside perimeter of the depression part. And then you have a profile, which is the cross section. And so what we do is select the molding toolpath icon in the toolpath. So it looks like a piece of molding. And we want this to go to the top of the material. I'm going to use a 1/2-inch ball nose for this. The bigger the better, really, is in these gentle kind of curves. So I'm going to use a 1/2-inch ball nose. You could use a bigger one if you want. But the trick is you select the rail and you select the profile you want. And you can kind of see what it's doing, that the rail is going to work its way around, and it's going to sort of follow the profile is going to follow the shape of the rail. And you have to be careful. If you get something that looks like this, and I'm going into the node edit mode, and the start point's over here. I'm going to change the start point over to this side. So make start point over here. And then let's select, go back to the regular selection mode. See, it's on the wrong side. So what's going to happen is the start point of the profile is now out here. So let's undo this and go back to, so I'll make the start point where I want it to be. And it looks right. So if it looks like it's a porcupine, just check where all your start points are. There's nothing else you really have to do about this. You can put a clearance bit if you want, but that's really not going to do much good for this. This is quick. And you can kind of see a little bit what the shape is. So it sort of follows the curve around, and it rises up in the middle where the sort of ridge is, where you always want to have a seat. And then I've already created, so there's the profile cutout, created a toolpath for that. So let's go into, let's preview both of those toolpaths. And one slick thing you can do is if you double click on the outside in the waste material, it all goes away, all the waste material. So you can see this is the shape of the seat. It's actually like comfy looking. But I just kind of drew this original as a 1/2 circle with a couple of legs. But you can modify this. What I would do is I would you got a kind of a middle point here. I would draw just a center line. And then I would go into the node edit mode and kind of change the shape of this if you want. And you could do, maybe you want to move this out here, make a little bit of a return on it. And then when I would select this, I would cut it right at that intersection, delete this half, and then I would use the mirror. I would mirror this, I don't want to do it around the job center. I want to do a mirrored copy, but I want to flip it about this line. And what that does is that gets you a symmetrical, and I've just eyeballed this. I'm going to join these two together to make them one curve, one entity. It's an open entity. And let's look, just see where the start point is. See if the start point's in. Yeah, the start point's in where I want it. So let's go back to here. Let's go into the swept profile. And we don't want a gap above there. And you can play with how this thing fits in the, you can see how the sweep's doing. It's a little bit different this time because of the way we changed the shape. So let's calculate it here. And now, since we had a little return over on the sides here, it's going to cut out in the open. You're going to waste a little bit of time because it's going to follow that profile all the way around. But it's not going to just, set your blank out in the middle somewhere. It's not going to, it's going to slow things down a little bit. Let's preview all toolpaths again. Get our waste material. Now you can see it's a little bit kind of nicer shape. It's a little more form fitting. And it's just a matter of doing, you could take this if you want to, you could make this a little bit steeper. You could put a little bit more side here. You could, if you wanted to, you could add a, let's insert a point here. You could make this profile really complex if you wanted. Move it over here. So it rises up now where the go back into here. So I want to have this, this. So let's see what this looks like. Preview all toolpaths. Now my outside perimeter, since I've changed the shape of the recess, the outside perimeter is not going to fit quite right, but you can adjust that. That's just a regular profile, but I always suggest doing that, sort of cut it in half and use a mirror line and flip it back and forth. So you get a little bit different shape here. It's a little bit more recess. You can adjust the length of these. So this is this piece is 16.7 wide. My profile is 8.75. So if I made that, I'm going to scale that just in width. Let's make that 8-inch. Now, so you can really kind of just adjust this to fit. And the slick part about it is you can just take a piece of whatever, MDF, styrofoam, try some things, cut them, see what it does. Let's see that. Reset the preview all toolpaths, see what we end up here. But you can cut a piece, cut a sample, sit in it, say, oh, it needs to be a little more here, it needs to be a little deeper there. And all you do is change the shape of that rail and change the profile, and you can do a massive amount of modifying easily. Yeah, so this one's just got a different kind of profile. You may want to sand a little bit in these spots where they cross. But the trick is just kind of see how it, try some different things, see how it works. This doesn't look particularly comfortable right in here. So I would go back and maybe change, don't make this have that little hump in it. You can change, you can go back to different, let's just try some different things. So anyway, this is Steve Glassel's trick for doing shaping, and I think it's pretty slick. It gives you, it makes it easily modifiable. It cuts really fast. Let me go back in the, let's look at the calculate it. 24-minute shaping. This would take a long time to cut as a 3D file. And just a little bit of sanding, which you're going to do no matter what you do. You're going to end up having a little bit of handwork to do on it. But anyway, this is Steve Glassel's very cool molding toolpath trick for doing seats like that.